What the heck was the year 2020? Hey, what's up? It's Phoenix and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I encourage you to hit that like button, to subscribe for more quality content, and to share with your friends. I also encourage you to check out the playlist tab and to check out my books on my author page. I will definitely put the link in the description, and be sure to check out some of my other videos on my channel. Today, I'm very excited because I'm going to reflect on the year 2020 as well as talk about some of my goals for the year 2021. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Now, this year, I made a video about the difficulty of the year 2020. I described some of the struggles that I had had this year, such as with the pandemic, with my own health, and with other things that happened this year, such as natural disasters. We had the windstorm at the one point earlier this year, and we also had an earthquake, as well as just the difficulty of getting by in life. And I made that video hoping that I would be able to describe in a better way some of what I'd been through this year while also working through it and processing it. But I'll admit, I am a little bit more hopeful now that it is the year 2021, because 2020, which was a crazy, crazy year, is now behind us. But here's the thing. I'm very proud of the work that I accomplished in 2020, and I'm very proud of my personal growth. I definitely feel as though I was able to get a lot done in the year 2020, and I feel as though I grew a lot as a person in terms of having more patience, more love, more compassion, and more strength. And I'm very glad that I was able to cultivate those things this year. Or I should say last year, in the year 2020. So one of the highlights of my year of 2020 was working on The Dark Kid, which is a kind of companion novel to my book, The Street Kid. I definitely encourage you to check out The Street Kid, which is published, if you want to see the book that started it all, in my, what I could describe my series with characters like Phoenix and the Dark Kid and others. But the Dark Kid is from the Dark Kid's perspective, that book, and it was definitely inspired a lot by The Talisman by Stephen King and Peter Straub, which I was able to read again this year as well for inspiration. The Dark Kid I would describe as being the novel that almost broke me, but I wouldn't describe all of that as being inherently negative, because I definitely feel as though I was able to push myself. I was able to challenge myself. I was able to do something that was difficult and still be able to persist. And I'm so glad that I was able to do that. And so The Dark Kid is one of my favorite books that I have written. And it is a book that I want to handle correctly, whether with my publication or even with just the process of getting it out there in the world and sharing it with the world. And I want to be able to do it on my own terms. At this point, I don't know what that means, but that is what I'm going to continue to focus on. The book definitely challenged me because it was not easy to write. It was a longer book, so it definitely took a lot of concentration and patience. And I definitely had to work very hard on completing the book. Writing a book in general is definitely difficult to do, as you can imagine, much less writing a very long book and a book that is very much intertwined with some of the other books and storylines that I've written in the past, such as The Street Kid, but also other books I've written as well. So I'm very glad that I was able to do that. I also spent a lot of work to write on my poetry collection, R. I wrote a lot of poetry this year, and one of the books that stands out as a kind of deep expression of my poetic sensibilities and of my lyrical content, as you could call it, is this book, R. And I had a lot of fun writing it, especially over the summer, where I would often go on walks, and I would bring my iPad with me, and then I would go to a favorite spot, or to one of my favorite spots, which was over on an empty lot, but also sometimes I would go to the park or other places, and I would just write poetry. And it was a great, great feeling. A lot of people responded positively to my poetry, which I posted on Facebook and other places, and that meant a lot. And one of the poems that came out of R is my poem Shock, which I am incredibly proud of, and which I also recorded a reading of on my YouTube channel, so I definitely encourage you to check that out. So there was also more that I did in 2020, such as with my job, where I work at the planetarium, and I was able to work on pitching a writing idea and pitching writing for their blog. At this point, I'll admit, I don't know if it's going to be able to work. I'm not sure if it's going to happen, but it's definitely my hope that it is definitely something that I'm able to do, where I'm able to write for this blog for this company. I don't know how that will work, but I'm definitely very hopeful for that, and I'm definitely glad that I challenged myself to do some writing for a company, and am very glad that I was able to pitch the idea and to see where it goes. I think there's a lot of potential with that if it works out, and so I'm definitely looking forward to it, and I'm glad that I did it. I also practiced guitar a lot this year. I took lessons for quite a while this year, which definitely sharpened my ability to play. And I also wrote a lot of songs just for myself, and songs that I hope to eventually flesh out with the band. And I also studied music theory. And so musically, I was very productive this year, and I'm very glad that I was. I saw it as a year to focus on music, and to focus on guitar, and to focus on all of these wonderful things that music brings in our lives. And I was very glad that I was able to do that. So certainly no regrets. Now, you might be wondering, what are my goals for the year 2021? I definitely have a lot of New Year's resolutions, and I'm definitely looking forward to that. I would like to write my epic fantasy, tentatively titled James. This epic fantasy has been brewing around in my mind for at least 20 years, I would say. I got the idea when I was in 5th grade, and I was handwriting that story. And I had tried in numerous iterations throughout my teenage years to be able to write that book, but I wasn't able to. So I focused on poetry for a while, and then I finally started writing novels again. When I was 19, I finished my novel Away from Home. But this book that I really want to write has been in my mind for years, and that is remarkable to think about, but also something that I feel is time to bring to fruition. It's also coinciding with the year where I've been reading a lot of fantasy books, such as The Talisman by Stephen King, but I'm also reading Lord of the Rings, and I'm reminiscing again on epic fantasies like Harry Potter, and I'm very interested in getting into other epic fantasies, whether by George R.R. Martin or Robert Jordan and his Wheel of Time. There are definitely many things that I can explore, but I would like to do that. And this book is something that I've wanted to write for a very long time, and that I want to see come into the world. Last year I was able to focus on The Dark Kid. This year I would like to focus on this book, tentatively again titled James, which I hope to be able to express and bring into the world. I definitely have a lot of ambitious goals for that book, so I'm very excited to see where I end up. I also would like to write, at least for a couple months or so, on my own blog. I have a blog, which I encourage you to check out, and I encourage you to check out that blog, where I have posted a lot of my writing, and I would like to focus on essay writing for a little bit, and maybe even just flash fiction, and be able to post some of those writings onto my blog. I think that it would be a really interesting way of sharing my writing, besides just sharing it with my books or my YouTube channel, so definitely keep a lookout for that. I need to finish my novel, Depictions of Human Kindness, which I'm writing right now, but I'm definitely very excited at the prospect of sharing my writing and essays that I plan on writing over the next couple months. And I'm very excited at the prospect of being able to share some of those on my blog. So definitely keep a lookout. Also, I don't know if you know, but I want to be in a metal band, specifically metal, because I think metal is the most dynamic genre for me that I've listened to and that I've definitely enjoyed listening to, and that has always pushed my boundaries. I don't necessarily know if I would be super heavy, although that would be something that I would challenge myself, but I would hope that if I'm able to form a band, that I will be able to bring to life some of my ideas, some of my musical and metal ideas, and we might be able to go in a very interesting direction. Last year was very nice because I was able to practice music with another individual, and we were able to share music together and to kind of do like a live session. It was over Zoom, but it was very fun to be able to do, and I'm definitely glad that I was able to do that. And even if I'm not able to to be able to form a band immediately this year. I'm hoping that I can at least take the steps to be able to do so by continuing to collaborate with other musicians, by continuing to practice with other musicians, even if it's only on Zoom, and by definitely continuing to perfect my ability on the guitar and on the music that I choose to create, whether I'm writing songs or just practicing my instrument. And so this is definitely a goal of mine. I'm not just saying this, obviously. I definitely really want to accomplish this, but I also acknowledge that it may be difficult to achieve, but nonetheless I'm going to pursue that. And I'm very excited to be able to do that. I also would like to continue to make YouTube videos. I definitely have enjoyed making YouTube videos all this year, and I can tell that I have improved a lot over my ability to make videos. At the beginning of the year, I just started with a nicer camera and some lighting, but since then I've also learned how to edit and how to make more engaging content and how to make more content in general, such as with these videos, and that definitely means a lot to me that I've been able to do so. I definitely would like to encourage myself to continue to make these videos and to continue to improve, and I'm very excited at the prospect of making videos on things that I'm very passionate about. Whether I'm talking about philosophy, or I'm reading a poem, or I'm sharing some of my music, or a variety of other things. I definitely would like to do that, and I would like to continue to expand and to grow as a YouTuber. I was able to reach 300 subscribers this year, and that has been remarkable, and so I definitely see that as a lot of motivation to keep going. So I'm very excited about that. I would also like to continue to exercise and to stay fit, and that is definitely an encouraging thing that I would like to be able to continue to do, to also stay connected with my community as well. Even though it's been hard to be with friends this year because of the pandemic, I still nonetheless have been able to connect with people, and I want to continue to do that. Now, there are a few lessons that I was able to take away from the year 2020. One is definitely perseverance. I will continue to persist, to persevere, to continue to try. Definitely the way that I see things is we can create our opportunities, and we can create the way in which we improve and the way in which we get better with the things that we find to be meaningful in our lives. And I think there is definitely a lot of value in that. Definitely stay self-motivated. I want to encourage myself to keep my discipline and to continue to keep my motivation going. And the way that I understand myself of being able to do that is by continuing to make the effort to do the projects that I do, the work that I do, and to not wait on motivation, but to let the motivation come after. And I think that that is very cool. And I definitely want to maintain my discipline and to definitely keep asking questions. I have also discovered this year that cooperation is extremely important, and that I feel as though I want to continue to be able to work well with people, even if they have differing views or differing ideas. I definitely want to do that. And on another note of this unpredictable world and on perseverance, I would also like to acknowledge that I do want to stay curious. A lot of the reasons why I do the things that I do in life, such as reading, such as writing, such as doing my art and talking with other people and getting new perspectives, is because I very much want to keep discovering and to keep asking questions. I want to keep exploring. It is very important to me that I am able to explore, and that I'm able to explore the world, and that I'm able to grow as a person. All of that is extremely valuable to me, and I'm very glad that I've been able to do that this year, even if it was very different because of the pandemic and other things that were going on. But a lot of what I've understood about life is definitely learning how to adapt, learning how to become a part of the world, and learning how to become your own person and to develop your own set of values. And I think all of that is very valuable. So I definitely want to keep asking questions and keep exploring and to not limit myself at all in any way, artistically or personally or in terms of personal growth. So yeah, what a year, 2020. There will never be anything like it again, although I shouldn't say that because then maybe I'll jinx myself. But 2020 was a crazy year. I got a lot done, but I'm also glad that I'm able to close that chapter of this book of mine, and that I'm going to continue to keep my momentum that I've developed this year to be able to make 2021 the best year that it can be. This is my first video that I've made of 2021, and I hope that you've enjoyed it. I hope that it gave you some inspiration, and I hope that you will be able to go and chase your dreams. I'm Phoenix. Thank you for watching. Let's make 2021 the best year that it can be. And yeah, I'm Phoenix, and I will see you next time.